Программа для запоминания номер 5А. У вас есть дети?
Have you got any children?
Да, у меня их двое.
Yes, I've got two.
Мальчик или девочки?
Boys or girls?
Сын и дочь.
One of each. A boy and a girl.
Сколько им лет?
How old are they?
Дочке 6, сыну всего 5.
My daughter is 6 years old. My son is only 5.
Они еще совсем маленькие.
They're still quite young.
И вы продолжаете работать?
And you still go to work.
Есть детский сад, и потом есть моя мама.
There's a kindergarten, and also there's my mother.
Она приходит к нам, когда они болеют.
She comes over when they are ill.
Она также помогает нам и сидит с ними, когда мы идем куда-нибудь вечером.
She also lends a hand and babysits when we are out for the evening.
Она не находит, что дети слишком большая обуза для нее.
Doesn't she find the kids too much of a burden for her?
Что вы, ей доставляет удовольствие ухаживать за внуками.
Oh no, she enjoys looking after her grandchildren.
Кроме того, это дает ей почувствовать, что она нужна.
Besides, it makes her feel needed.
Я обратил внимание, что в вашей стране бабушки охотнее сидят с внуками, чем в Великобритании.
I've noticed that in your country, grannies are more willing to take care of their grandchildren than their British counterparts.
Некоторые из них даже уходят на пенсию, когда рождается внук или внучка.
Some of them even retire when a grandson or granddaughter is born.
И, насколько я понимаю, это скорее правило, чем исключение.
And as far as I understand, it's the rule rather than the exception.
В целом, возможно, вы и правы.
On the whole, you may be right.
Но времена меняются, бабушки тоже.
But grandmothers are also changing with the times.
Мама живет с моей младшей сестрой.
Mother lives with my younger sister.
Это недалеко от нас.
It's not far from our place.
Есть только одна проблема. Возле ее дома очень оживленное движение.
There's only one problem. The traffic near her block of flats is very heavy.
И поблизости нет ни наземного, ни подземного перехода.
And there's neither a zebra crossing nor a subway nearby.
Чтобы перейти улицу, нужно пройти метров 500 до перекрестка и светофора.
You have to go about 500 meters as far as the crossroads and the traffic lights to cross the street.
Извините, у меня есть вопрос.
Excuse me, I've got a question.
Что означает слово subway?
What does the word subway mean?
британском английском оно значит «подземный переход», в американском – «метро».
In British English, it means underpass. In American English, underground, what you call the metro here.
Это один из многочисленных случаев, когда одно и то же слово имеет два разных значения в британском и американском вариантах английского языка.
It's one of the many cases when one and the same word means two different things in British and American English.
Программа для запоминания номер 5Б. Моя сестра не замужем.
My sister isn't married.
Она студентка.
She's a student.
Она изучает экономику и право.
She's studying economics and law.
Она надеется стать юристом.
She hopes to become a lawyer.
У нее грандиозные планы.
She is full of ambitious plans.
В России, как и в Великобритании, будущих юристов готовят в университетах.
In Russia, like in Britain, future lawyers are trained in university law schools.
А врачей?
What about doctors?
Что касается врачей, то они обычно учатся в медицинских институтах.
As for doctors, they are usually trained in medical institutes.
Поскольку у нас в университетах, как правило, нет медицинских факультетов.
Because, as a rule, we have no medical departments at our universities.
Строго говоря, наши институты уже больше не называются институтами.
Strictly speaking, our institutes are no longer called institutes.
За последние несколько лет большинство из них были переименованы в колледжи, университеты или академии.
Over the last few years, most of them have changed their names to colleges, universities or academies.
Прежде чем стать дипломированными врачами, студенты учатся по крайней мере 5 или 6 лет.
It takes students at least 5 or 6 years to become qualified doctors.
Система образования Великобритании все время меняется.
The system of education in Britain keeps changing all the time.
Все эти перемены часто приводят в замешательство.
All these changes often confuse people.
Например, раньше у нас были политехнические институты и университеты.
For example, we used to have polytechnics and universities.
А сейчас все политехнические институты называются университетами.
But now, all polytechnics are calling themselves universities.
А чем они отличались?
And what was the difference between them?
И те, и другие предлагали широкий круг предметов.
Both offered a wide range of subjects.
Однако в то время как университеты всегда были независимыми, политехнические институты контролировались государством.
However, whereas the universities were always independent, polytechnics were state-controlled.
Кроме того, курсы, предлагаемые политехническими институтами, часто имели более практическую и профессиональную направленность.
Besides, polytechnic courses were often more practical and vocational.
Насколько я слышал, в Великобритании есть как государственные, так и частные школы.
From what I hear, there are both state-owned and private schools in Britain.
Обучение в частных школах, в том числе в так называемых подготовительных школах, стоит очень дорого.
Tuition in private schools, including the so-called prep schools, costs a lot of money.
Тем не менее, многие родители готовы идти на жертвы, чтобы дать своим детям хорошее образование.
Nevertheless, many parents are ready to make sacrifices to give their children a good education.
Насколько я могу судить, сейчас в России модно посылать детей в частные школы-интернаты за границу.
As far as I can judge, it's fashionable now in Russia to send children to private boarding schools abroad.
Но, разумеется, очень немногие семьи могут себе это позволить.
But very few families can afford it, of course.
Нам повезло. Наше знакомство с Англией началось уже в Москве.
We're lucky. Our acquaintance with England has already started in Moscow.
Мне кажется, и мне очень повезло.
I suppose I'm very lucky too.
Побывав в Москве, я начинаю понимать вашу страну и ее народ.
Having visited Moscow, I'm beginning to understand your country and its people.
Вы немало повидали.
You've seen a lot.
Вернувшись домой, вы сможете рассказать своим друзьям много интересного о нашей стране.
Back home, you'll be able to tell your friends a lot of interesting things about our country. Lesson 5. Dialogue.
Tell me, Svetlana, have you got any children?
Oh yes, we've got 2.
Boys or girls?
One of each, a boy and a girl.
How old are they?
Serge is 5 years old and Anne is a year older. She's 6.
Ah, they're still young then.
Who looks after them while you're working?
Well, there's a kindergarten, and my mother also lends a hand. She comes over to us when the children fall ill, and she babysits when we are out for the evening.
She doesn't find the children too much of a burden then?
Well, she says she doesn't. She loves her grandchildren very much, and besides, she says it makes her feel needed.
In Russia, grandmothers often spend a lot of time with their grandchildren, don't they?
I think that's still true. Some grandmothers even retire to look after their grandchildren. The kids sometimes spend more time with their granny than with their mother. But grannies are changing along with the times.
Does your mother live with you?
No, she lives with my sister, my younger sister. Their block of flats is not very far from ours. There's only one problem. The traffic in our area is very heavy. And there's no zebra crossing, so she has to walk 500 or 600 metres to the nearest... Oh, what do you call it? The thingamy. It's a kind of underground passage.
Oh, the underpass, or it's sometimes called a subway.
That's it, the underpass. Anyway, it's difficult for my mother to avoid the traffic.
Poor lady. And does your sister have children?
Oh no, she isn't married. She's only 19. She's a university student. She's studying economics and law, and she hopes to become a lawyer and start her own business. She's full of plans and ambitions.
And are your children staying with your sister now?
Yes, my mother and my sister are both looking after Serge and Anne.
Excuse me, Judy, I've got a question. In Britain, they train medical students in universities, don't they? Some universities have got medical schools.
That's right. Our future doctors have 5 or 6 years training in a university medical school and in a hospital. Then they spend another year working in a hospital before they're qualified.
It sounds very similar to what we have here, except that in Russia there are practically no university medical schools. We've got separate specialized medical institutes, as well as financial, textile, teacher training institutes and so on.
Well, strictly speaking, we should really say we used to have educational establishments of higher learning called institutes, but most of them have recently changed their names and are now called academies, universities or colleges. It's all very confusing.
Oh, yes, indeed. We have the same problems in Britain too. They keep changing the system of education. For example, we used to have polytechnics and universities until all polytechnics were renamed and started calling themselves universities.
From what I hear, apart from centralised state-controlled education, you now have private schools in Russia as well.
Yes, that's right. Like in Britain, there are now state-owned and private schools and kindergartens, but not many parents can afford to send their children to a private school.
That's true. In Britain, private schools also cost a lot of money, but many parents are ready to make sacrifices in order to send their child to a good school.
Why do they do that? Do they really give a better education, private schools?
They most certainly do. With very few exceptions, the quality of education in private schools is much higher than in the state-owned ones.
I'm not sure we can say the same thing about our private schools. They don't have the same long-standing traditions as in Britain.
Well, you may be right. As far as I can judge, those who can afford to send their children to a private school try to send them to a good boarding school in Britain, France or Germany.
That's true. It's very fashionable nowadays.